Kurt Vonnegut is just one of those artists that absolutely always achieves a success. Like, I have not read one of his books that has disappointed me. I have not felt, that he has any lackluster ability. And, I know it's bold claims, but I definitely think they can be subsidized because he is incredibly good at what he does. And he does it in a really sort of out there way. His books they do lack complexities of traditional writing. He is quite simplistic in tone and in his conjunctures, but it's wonderful in its ease. They are short books. I think they usually like 150 to 200 pages, and they are small font print. But despite that, they're still, everything's within them. They're very easy to read through, very easy to grasp and understand. So, but still amazing and still packed, So he's not, complicating things with pompous language. He keeps it simple and succeeds with that, which when people try to do that, they end up failing and having, like a child's grade reading experience, which he does not do. He maintains the idea focus without the imagery mainly, and doesn't end up with, the lackluster sci-fi. His sci-fi is chef kiss brilliant. I love it, and he works with wonderful ideas. His usage of concept and time, especially Slaughterhouse-Five, that is the perfect way to write a non-linear book. I have not seen a better example of such, and I've read quite a few which tackle this, but none do it as well as this book does. And also, I love the aspects of almost autobiographical content, Like, again, I'm coming back to Slaughterhouse-Five, which is about prisoners of war in World War II and the firebombing of Dresden, and just witnessing that massacre and the impact of that, and having to cope with real life after it whilst having these conflicts. With also, the alien side of it thrown in. And he did live through being a prisoner of war. He did live through the bombing of Dresden. So you have these aspects that clearly show a direct inspiration. But the man can successfully tell his side of the story and throw in sci-fi aspects, the Tremadolphians, the aliens, the time travel, He does this merging of his life and fantasy, his life and fiction, so well that it just crafts not just a great novel, but a great artist persona, I love the beginning of Slaughterhouse-Five, which, no spoilers, is basically just setting up the book. Like, it is about the attempts of a fictional character, which is in himself Vonnegut, trying to write the book that then becomes Slaughterhouse-Five, and it, though fictional, sounds exactly like the process you can imagine him going through in writing this book. He is, trying so hard to write a book about Dresden, and then we get the book about Dresden, which, is not some kind of fact-filled book, which it sets out to be. It becomes being this science fiction one, but I think that's exactly how Vonnegut felt when he was writing this book. He may have wanted to write a book somehow getting out the facts of him being witness to one of Europe's biggest massacres, and, you need to wait to cope with that. But he then comes out with this science fiction interpretation of it, which is wonderful. And he just captures concepts of science fiction, concepts of the fantasy, into a, expression of his life, of his reality, and does it great. And then you've got books like Cat's Cradle, which are much less inspired by his real life, but done through a process that is like it is a book written, but written to be read. It doesn't just sound like diary entries. It sounds like a great piece of novelistic work. He is wonderful, and I will never stop singing my praises for Vonnegut, because he is a beautiful writer, and I would definitely implore that you check out at least some of his books, and he's definitely one of those artists that you can't just read one. You need to read a few to get, the general gist of his style, because it is his style that sets him apart. It is his style that makes him brilliant.